The Trump administration is calling attention to an imminent foreign policy concern coming up later this year and then again in a couple of years from now that has to do with the sunset of key international restrictions on Iran at the UN Security Council. The first is in October. That's when the UN arms embargo on Iran is scheduled to lift. We know that Russia and China are getting ready to export very advanced weapons, including fighter aircrafts, battle tanks, and other advanced weapon systems to Iran if that arms embargo lifts. And then just a couple of short years later, the UN missile restrictions on the world also go away with regard to Iran. And that would allow Russia or China to help Iran build longer and longer range missiles capable of hitting Europe and the United States. And so this is a top national security priority, not just for Washington, but also for London, Paris, Berlin, and others that are close US allies that do not want to see Russia and China flood the Middle East, flood the world's top sponsor of terrorism with advanced conventional arms and missile technology. Now, there is a way to stop this from happening. This is what's called the snapback of UN sanctions, and that's what's being talked about right now. It looks like the Trump administration is getting ready to build a coalition to first try to extend some of these restrictions, the first one being the arms embargo at the Security Council. And they may call a vote very soon to ask nations to vote whether or not to extend for a period of years that arms embargo on Iran, given the threats that the Islamic Republic poses to the region and the broader world. If that fails, and right now Russia says they will veto that resolution because, of course, they want to sell advanced arms to Iran, then the administration will follow up by using its legal right to snap back UN sanctions at the Security Council. This is a very important procedure. It was locked into Security Council Resolution 2231 alongside the negotiations over the Iran nuclear deal. And there is a provision there that says the United States and any other original participant in the deal is allowed to, at any time, send a letter to the Security Council alleging that Iran is no longer keeping its commitments under the nuclear deal. And today we know that's true. It's enriching uranium well in excess of their JCPOA limits. They're producing heavy water in excess of those limits. And they're now also denying access to sites and material inside their country to the International Atomic Energy Agency. There's ample evidence that they are in significant non-performance of their commitments, and therefore the United States has the right to send a letter to the Council saying, we want all sanctions on Iran to come back into force. That goes through a 30-day process, and at the end of that, sanctions, the arms embargo, the missile restrictions, and other important restrictions are restored indefinitely. Now, Russia, China, Iran, they're not going to like this idea. Obviously, Russia and China want to create a proxy there in the Middle East. They want to have a client state in Iran. They want to sell advanced weapons and help Iran develop long-range missiles. We can't let that happen. This is not about politics, not about how you feel about the Iran deal. It's about long-term strategic threats by Russia and China in the Middle East and the world's top sponsor of terrorism and its capabilities. And so hopefully, as we move forward, we will build a transatlantic coalition to use our shared concerns over Russian and Chinese sales of arms and missile technology to Iran, to restore all the international restrictions on Iran, and complete the snapback of UN sanctions.